Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the John Gaunt podcast. Let me be clear. Rylan Clark's immigration comments were brilliant. I stand with Ryland, and there's now, according to the mainstream press, a backlash against him. I say backlash my arse. Well done, Rylan. Are you with me or are you against me? Rylan Clark has said what most ordinary people in the United Kingdom are thinking about asylum, the Dover Dinghy Boys, the ridiculous state of affairs. But it was so refreshing to finally hear a big star, not just a big star, he's on the way to becoming one of the nation's favourites. Isn't he? He spoke his mind without fear. Maybe he didn't realise the backlash he'd get. But I think it's great to see people like him speaking up and just voicing what he thinks, because we're still meant to have free speech. While politicians like Keir Starmer tiptoe around the truth or lie, Ryland's straight-talking comments on illegal immigration struck a massive chord with the public. I would imagine most people agreed with him. This video will break down what he said on This Morning and why it matters. He's a national treasure, and why so many of us now stand with him. There's something I never thought I'd say. I stand with Ryland. I did love his last show, the Grand Tour, or whatever it was called, with Rob Reiner. I thought it was brilliant telly. But the way that guy has worked his arse off to get to where he is today, I admire him and I respect him. And that went up tenfold at least after what he said yesterday. Rylan Clark showed yesterday he's more in touch with the people of this country than anyone who's running it or who wants to run it. And I'd say the polls back that up, because what he was saying is just what we've all been saying. So join me now as we cut through the outrage, highlight the bloody hypocrisy, and celebrate a national treasure brave enough to say what millions feel. Do you agree? Do you stand with Ryland? Put your thoughts in the comments at the bottom of this. So it's Rylan Clark. It's This Morning. I'm saying we should all stand with Ryland. This is politics, believe it or not. This is the politics that really matters. Are you with me or against me? Love to get your views. It's not going to be a long one, this. It's short and sweet and to the point. So if you want to make a comment, feel free. Get telling me now. As I say, backlash my arse. Rylan Clark has just said, well, yesterday, what millions of us in this country are already thinking. And the so-called outrage, which the MSM are talking about, only proves that he struck the target bullseye. Finally, we've got a celebrity, a national treasure, brave enough to speak their mind. You know what This Morning's like. It's one of the wokest programs on the telly. But they, by accident, by the look of it, hit the agenda that everyone's talking about. Starmer is still hiding on his sunbed, refusing to speak. The migrants keep on coming. The illegals keep on coming. Epping the Bell Hotel. It's in court today to find out whether or not that injunction will hold. I'll be doing another show later about that. We've got morons like the Lib Dem leader saying, oh, I'm not going to meet President Trump because of Gaza. As if Donald Trump gives an SH1T about you, you pompous, pious prick. But the real politics is happening on populist TV, because on This Morning, yesterday, Ryland made a point about the difference between how ordinary British people are treated compared to those coming in through illegal routes. At one point, I thought, has he been watching my podcasts? Because he talked about a passport. He said if he turned up at a Spanish airport without his British passport, he wouldn't be allowed to travel. He's right. But then he said, if I turned up in a Dover in a dinghy, I'm straight in, straight on a coach, new clothes, into a 4-star hotel, And then he said the controversial thing, he said, with the National Health Service in the foyer. And some liberals have had a go at him about this and said that's all racist. That doesn't happen. Well, maybe not quite the way he said it, but it does happen. They get free dental care. They get free health care. Immediately they arrive. Doctors do come and nurses to the hotels to give them necessary vaccinations and injections. He was telling the truth. They do pick up an iPad or a phone, which he said as well. He didn't use the word new, although his critics are saying they don't get new ones. They shouldn't be getting anything at all. They should be thanking us and bowing down to us that we're pretending to believe that they are refugees. The backlash has all been about fancy talking about refugees like this. 90% of these people are not refugees. They're economic migrants. Listen, I don't blame them for wanting to come to Britain. It's a brilliant country. But we can't let everybody else in. And why on earth should they jump the queue? All the uber liberals don't consider this. But Ryland did. He highlighted how they get housed or put into hotels, how they got fed, how they were given resources like the iPads, like the phones, whilst British citizens, including his own mum, struggle with basic NHS care. That was a brilliant bit, actually. He said he believed in immigration, and without immigration, his mum might not have been saved. Recently, she's been very poorly. He acknowledged how much well-managed, controlled immigration has helped this country. And I agree with him. And then when he put out a tweet later after they all started attacking him, he said, you can believe in immigration, but just be against illegal immigration, in effect. Well, that's my position. I support well-controlled, managed immigration. And I think most people in our great country do. That's why when the fascist left, the Antifa hate mob and their friends in the mainstream media call people like those mums outside the Bell Hotel in Epping, call them fascists or call them Nazis. It's an absolute disgrace. They're not anti-immigration. They're anti-no policy on immigration. And there is zero policy. We're going to be talking about this on my show later tonight. Yvette Cooper's come up with a new idea, which I predicted days, if not weeks ago. They're basically going to lower the standard and let people in from certain countries. That's what they're going to do. Then they're going to brag, oh, we got the numbers down. Just like with the hotels, we got the numbers down. Yes, because you put them all into houses of multiple occupation. We don't want one in, one out. We want none in and all of them out. The illegals, not everybody else. So he was fair when he spoke about his mum. And he called the situation at the moment absolutely insane. And you know what? He was 100% right. Well done, Ryland. Bang on the money. Will Keir Starmer now get off his sunbed or get out from under that stone where he's hiding and make his comments? Willie Heller's like. He's a coward. I've eaten blancmange with more backbone than him. And of course, the predictable happened yesterday after Ryland said these very reasonable things. The Twitter ex-fascist mob went wild, shouting about let's get a backlash against him. Let's get him cancelled. But let's be absolutely honest, and please back me up in the comments if you agree with me. Did he not just say exactly what most of us talk about in the pub, at work, at home? The only difference is he said it on mainstream telly. And that's why people like me now respect him so much, because he's not afraid to say out loud what the rest of us see and talk about every day. This is at the top of everybody's agenda. And here's the kicker. Ryland, a TV presenter. You couldn't really get more mainstream than Ryland, could you? He's a celebrity. He's a household name. But he is more in tune with the people of the United Kingdom than Keir Starmer will ever be. The most unpopular Prime Minister ever on record. Rumours today that he's getting rid of another top civil servant. He blames everybody but himself. He's on the way out because Rachel Reeves is about to collapse the economy. Starmer is almost finished, but at the moment he's meant to be our leader. He should have come back from his holiday and he should have dealt with the small boats crisis. And it is a crisis because they're still coming today. All the polls, I don't mean the Polish, the voting polls show it. The public want honesty, fairness, and a proper debate, not polished lines and fence sitting. Rylan Clark cut through the spin with his single, straight talking comment. Do you agree? That's why I say I stand with Ryland. Not because I agree with every single word. I didn't agree with the bit at the beginning when he said this country is built on immigration. You're wrong, Ryland. That's America. That was definitely built on immigration. But undoubtedly, immigrants, especially from the Caribbean and especially from Ireland, helped to build this country at a critical time after and just before the Second World War. They have made this country better on the whole. Well-controlled, managed immigration has been a good thing. But what we've got now is a free-for-all. And what we've also got is that the feral, the feckless, the freeloaders and the foreigners get treated better by their wokerati in the police, in social services, in local government and in the police, and especially in the judiciary. That's one of the fundamental problems we got, which is what Nigel Farage will have to deal with if he does get elected. They just do what they want to do. Then, of course, they go off to leafy Surrey. These judges, they don't live anywhere near where the problems are. So, in the end, it's refreshing, isn't it, in today's woke climate, to hear a massive star, a national treasure, I guess, risk the outrage to speak the truth. That deserves respect. I'm also amazed he hasn't got the sack. I checked before I came on here. He was on the show again today. So perhaps we've got to say well done to ITV. Or perhaps that also shows the mood change. Lots of people are talking about deportation of illegals now. At last, are the British people being listened to? But Starmer and Yvette Cooper, they are useless. So what do you think? Do you stand with Rylan Clark? Do you think the backlash against him has been fair, or has it been a typical lefty Twitter mob? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more straight talking videos like this one. I was so wound up about this. I wanted to have the time to discuss this, which is why I've done a separate show now at lunchtime, and I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope you've got views. Please smash the like button if you are enjoying it. And don't forget, if you want to help fund these podcasts, and there's going to be loads more, please press that little $sign at the bottom of my YouTube video and donate some cash to keep them going. I'm not subsidized like the BBC. You can watch for free. We won't send you to prison like the BBC, but it would help if you could donate. Alternatively, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt and get your name on the wall of honor, which you can see is at the bottom there. I'll just put one up there for you. There we are. And get your name on there as well. So enough of the adverts. Let's get back to what you want to say about this. Adventure says we need an MP with balls to organise a vote of no confidence in one gear. I like that. He's the most hated Prime Minister in decades. You are correct. Bill Skirrett says big star is a bit over the top. Well, why did you pull the wings off a butterfly? Is that your hobby? He's a bigger star than you are. He's a bigger star than me. He's a household name. He's known by his first name. I think he's done brilliantly since the X Factor. And, I wouldn't buy a ticket to go and see him, but why do you want to bring him down when he's doing something positive? What's your problem? Have you achieved so little in life you can only get off on slagging off more successful people? Apologise. Let's move on. Who'd think common sense would become radical? Says Mark the Vicar on YouTube. What a brilliant comment. I shall probably nick that and use it on another podcast. Thank you, my friend. Caroline Hobday says, yes, 100%. Well said, Ryan. And also amazed he was allowed to speak out. I don't think they can stop him. I think when those ceramic teeth get going, there's no pulling him back. He's a great bloke, isn't he, what he said? And I would have said that even if I didn't agree with him. The fact he had the balls to say, well, and he didn't say it in a bombastic way. He said, well, this is how I see it. And politics aside, this seems a bit odd. I think that's where most people in Britain stand. How come we're talking about being skint? We ain't got enough money to buy school uniforms and put food on the table, but the government is giving money to all and sundry. We can't afford it. And also, who's going to be their doctors, their teachers? We can't afford this. And then we put up our flags. And the lefties who are slagging off Ryland today are saying that's an act of fascism. How can our flag be fascist? We live in England. We live in Britain. Wrap yourself in the flag. There is no backlash, says Elisa. Is it Elisa? Margaret. We all 100% stand with him. Who exactly said there was a backlash? I'm not having a go at you, love, but have a look now. Google Ryan, and all the headlines are about a backlash. I agree with you. There was no backlash. Everybody I've spoken to about it's going, what, Ryland said that? Brilliant. Good on him. Good lad. Go on, Ryland. Get in there, my son. He's speaking the truth. I agree. But you read the mainstream media, you look at the BBC, they say there's a backlash. And they control. They are the propaganda. That's the problem. Which is why I would say, please help to fund independent broadcasters like myself, so at least you get a different view. That would be good. Caroline Hobday says, how are other countries reporting this, John? It's a bit early to say that, Caroline. I would imagine most of them would be in support. Certainly, if Trump gets to hear of this, he'll definitely be supporting it, and J.D. Vance. Because let me tell you, that pipsqueak Lib Dem leader who says, oh, I'm not going to go to the royal banquet, the state visit when Trump comes, he's just going to swat him like a fly, and rightly so. How dare he? How dare Ed David? How the hell did he become a knighthood? What, for riding bloody roller coasters? The guy's a jumped up little jerk, but he's now a sir jumped up little jerk. I'm going to talk about him later tonight, but how dare he not only insult Donald Trump, the leader of the free world, he's insulting the king as well. I think it's disgusting. As an expat in Thailand, I have to copy my passport or a copy to show. I have a valid visa, and yes, police or immigration do checks, even random checks in bars. No visa, bye-bye, bye-bye. UK need to copy this. I think that's a very, very good point indeed. Thank you, Adventure. How are they covering it, say, in Thailand? Has it got on to the international news yet? If you are abroad, where's my mate Pip, who lives in Barcelona? How are they coping with this in Barcelona? This will become a big, big story. I think ITV realised that, which is why they haven't sacked him. If they had sacked him, that would be the end of their programme, because I've done that programme loads of times. Honestly, they're such a bunch of woke twats. They used to be headed up by that little filthy pipsqueak Philip Schofield, dead behind the eyes. He was horrible. Holly Willoughby, great. Eamon, great. Ruth, great. All those people. Alison Hammond's all right. But Philip Schofield, no. And I'm telling you, all the producers on that, when I've been on it, are lefty woke. That's my opinion. Lily Cat, Why don't other celebrities start talking out? It would make a big difference. Lily, I think in the age we're living in, you speak absolute sense. I'll tell you why, Lily. When I was doing lots of telly, you know, when I used to go on Sky News, all of those programs, people would often say to me afterwards, the mainstream presenters, how do you get away with saying that? I just said, well, you've asked my opinion. I've told you my opinion. Oh, you might not get booked again. To which I used to answer, I don't give a shit. Well, I mean, at the time, of course, I had a job on the Sun, over 100 grand a year. I had a job on Talk Sport, the same. So I suppose I could do that. But I wouldn't, even now, when I'm skint, don't forget to donate. Even now, when I'm skint, I would never go on a TV program and say something I didn't believe. That's not what people want. And I tell you what, that is what most of, I'm talking about the genre, not an individual station, most of talk radio style programs, whether they're on TV or the radio, you do realise they're all playing a part. They don't believe in what they say. I believed in everything. Ended up getting me the sack, didn't it, when I called that councillor a Nazi for not letting working class people who smoked adopt or foster. I was right then and I'm right now. I haven't changed my opinion. The guy was a Nazi because they were the last people to ban smoking. And it was prejudice against the white working class. And not only that, the kids were more in danger in the residential homes. Have I not been proved right? The scandal's still going on. And I'm not just talking about the Muslim gangs. All over the place. White people abusing kids in care. It still happens. If it wasn't for my Auntie Rosemary, who was a matron, smoked about 60 a day in the back kitchen, I would have not been saved. I don't know why I bothered, to be truthful with this year. Anyway, let's move on. Lily, thank you for your comments. Let's go. Diane Heaton, he told the truth. Well done, Ryland. Kiss, kiss, and a Union flag. Nice one, Diane. I like the little bit at the end there. That's good. Here in Hungary, see, so we've got people all over the world watching me. Peter Adams says, here in Hungary on YouTube, I have to carry my residence card with me to show I'm legal. And I'm with Ryland 100%. Yeah, I think he's going to become a massive hero. Gillian Hickey says, yes, I stand with Ryland on Facebook. Thank you very much for your comment. Excuse me, I've got a terrible cough. I think I might have a little cold coming on. I was under the weather last night, which is why I didn't do my 6:30 show. There will be a show tonight, probably at 6 rather than 6:30. We'll be talking about the decision about the Bell Hotel. We'll be talking about where do we go from here with migrants. And, of course, you can always watch it on Catch Up. And we'll be talking about that idiot Lib Dem leader. If you like the show, please retweet the stream. Tell your friends about it. That's the best thing you can do for me. Or join my YouTube channel. It's free. It's called subscribing, but that makes it sound like you've got to pay money. You don't. It's John Gaunt TV, and it's completely free. Then you get an alert when I'm doing a live show like this extra one today, etc., etc., and you can see all the archive. Buster Edwards, thanks to you, John, for keeping us up to date. Starmer must go ASAP. Before that, in my opinion, Buster. And all his heartless front bench MPs. The police are a waste of time. They are Labour boot boys. Well, I think that's what they're trying to turn them into. I actually got a lot of time for the guys and girls on the thin blue line. I think it will snap soon, personally. Why the heck are they helping the immigrants? Well, they're doing their job, I guess, Buster. And I do believe these people who turn up at Dover need help. I would take them straight away in a luxury coach to a secure army base like Nigel Farage from Reform UK was talking about yesterday. I think he must watch my podcast. And I would keep them in army tents. I would close all the hotels overnight. There's no need for squeezy soap. iPads and iPhones. No. Don't like it. We'll pay for you. You can have $2.5 grand. Go home. Right? But don't complain, because we'll treat you well. We'll feed you properly, etc., etc. But we ain't having the piss taken anymore. Is that too harsh? I think I'll get on telly with views like that. Just seen my name, says Lily Cat. Where have you seen it? On the screen? Yeah, your name comes up, Lily, every time you say something. Thank you for that. Someone's just donated a £5. Kevin Cunning, one of my big fans. Kevin, on YouTube. Thank you very much. All he did was press the little $ at the bottom of the screen, and he's donated £4.99, which is a fiver. It's a big, and I won't go into the detail, but thank you so much. Really, really appreciated. And you get on the list for that as well. Is that what you're talking about, Lily? The list at the bottom of all the contributors. I've got to update that. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Graham Hatton. It takes balls to speak out loud on mainstream TV. Graham, exactly right. Exactly right. You have all these pretty young things, and that's just the boys, are running around telling you what the agenda is, interviewing you, interviewing again, so they can tell Rylan or Eamon what you're going to say or what you're basically going to say. That's their job. So it does take guts to speak out. Well said, Graham. And that's why Ryland today is a hero. He knew, as all do, that the lefty loving and caring would come out. Daggers drawn. What a lovely email this is. Of course, we're all aware that these cuddly, forward-thinking lefties, you missed out a word there, progressive, because they think they're progressive. Lefties are actually venomous, nasty, and vicious. They are, my friend. Their poisonous rhetoric holds no boundaries. Vile, says Graham Hatton on Facebook. What a brilliant comment. Thank you very much indeed for that. Denise Deacon, she's showing the flag there on her avatar on Facebook. She says he's brave for not towing the usual media line. He certainly is, love. He certainly is. And that's what we need more of. And I wouldn't mind if it was somebody coming out with the other view. On you go. Get on with it. On you go. That's what free speech is all about. That's what it's all about. That's what Georgie Galloway is so brilliant. I don't agree with his politics. I see Sportsman here as well. I bet he's crying into his fedora today. But at least he tells the truth, his truth, because you can only ever tell your truth. Most people on telly are telling their bullshit truth that they think their very camp top producer wants them to hear. That's what's wrong with telly. It's even what's wrong with so-called controversial channels, which I won't name, mainly because I'd like to get some work. I'm trying to be honest. Christian Sky, mass Muslim migrants took over. It's next Gaza. No, that's over the top. It's not. And also, see, I agree with Farage. I don't want to boot out all Muslims. Of course I don't. Of course I don't. I want people just to mix and get on. You know, I'm not anti-immigration at all. I'm pro-immigration. I'm just anti people jumping the queue and cheating it. That's what I'm anti. And also, I think you've got to have limits and you've got to have boundaries and you've got to have borders. We've got a thing called the fucking channel. How are they getting in? And this is the thing I'm going to talk about later. I don't think Starmer wants to stop it. I really, really don't. And certainly not that Lord, whatever his name is, the Attorney General. He loves it. He may as well have like a stick of rock written through him. Immigrants are us. It's like the toy shop. Lily says, I wonder what the king is thinking about this. Well, a lot of people say that to me. You don't want to get the king involved, though, because then that just leads into so many constitutional problems. Mike at Cora, I find it strange that they come with no documents except their driving license. Yeah, with you. Excuse me. I like it where they say they can't read, write, or speak English, but when it comes to their human rights, they know it better than me and you. I always find that odd. But there we are. Trump needs to send the army to stop tyrant UK political supporting migrants. See, but again, Christian, you're missing the point. You're attacking the individual migrant. I don't think you should. I really don't. I think you should be attacking Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak, the Lettuce, Liz Truss, all of them. Boris Johnson, who's back in the papers today. He let a whole wave of them in. An individual who wants to leave some godforsaken shithole like Afghanistan or whatever, or Somalia, I kind of admire them, respect them. They're the kind of people we want on one level. They're go-getters. But we can't have them all in. We're just a small island. That's where it's wrong. And the fault for that lies not just with Starmer, also with the Tories, who for 14 years did jack shit about this problem. They're the ones who started using the hotels, don't forget. So I'm not anti-Labour. I'm not anti-Tory. I'm anti the whole lot of them. They make me sick. I would never say sir to Starmer. He don't deserve anything except one biggest Harmer Starmer trophy goes to the most disliked PM in history, says Buster Edwards. Thank you, Buster. Julie Brown, why are we all in the wrong for sticking up for ourselves? What a lovely line that is. Well done, Julie. Why are we always in the wrong for sticking up for ourselves? I think that's a great point. I'll tell you why. Because the liberal lefties who run the police, who run the paper, and most of the newspapers, definitely run the BBC and TV. They hate our culture. They hate our country. They hate the white working class. They despise us. So if you're working class, that's it. They make immediate assumptions about you, and then you're finished. You might have a little day in the sun. Hold on, I've got to blow my nose. But not much. Not much. Remember, I've been there, got the T-shirt, XXL, by the way. It'd be too big for me now. I've got the T-shirt. I work for the biggest newspaper in the world. I was one of the biggest TV contributors in the world. Sky, all over the world, right? BBC, all over the world. Question time. Alan Titchmarsh in the afternoon. I'm joking, but literally, I know how it works, which is why I don't get any more gigs now. Quite obvious, isn't it? You don't have to be a genius to work this out. Right. This is our country of which we should be allowed to be proud of, says Julie. If people coming here aren't proud or grateful to be here, then they should leave. Julie, you are on fire today, but they shouldn't be coming in on the boats when nowhere in Europe is a war zone. Well, apart from Ukraine. Well, that's not technically in Europe. Yeah, you're right. They could all stay and live there. If there's too many, then all pay for flights and do it the correct way. Well said, my friend. You are good. Kevin Cunning says, have a coffee, mate. You're pushing an opening door with me. This is Kevin Cunning. I told you earlier. He's donated a $5, $4.99 it comes up as. Don't ask me why, but that's how it works. He's obviously paid on his iPhone. Thank you very much indeed. Don't forget to return that iPhone. An illegal migrant needs it. They need to go home, says Slapping a Bird's Arse, stating the obvious. Thank you, mate. Oh, goodness me. Steve Palmer says, $4.99 there, Gaunty. That's for a coffee for John. Thank you very much indeed. You know I don't buy coffees, don't you, Steve? I put it into the pot to improve my studio setup. My arse. My bedroom. But thank you. Yes, in the contributors, Ziggy Spicer Gibbs, says Lily. Yeah, you've been on there for ages, Lily. You just haven't been looking, but you are a superstar. You're one of the first people to donate money to me. So thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Rachel Jones, if they had any sense of decency, they'd pack their uselessness and destruction on a day, resign. Oh, you're talking about the politicians. They won't resign. They ain't got no backbone. They ain't got no honor. They ain't got no respect. They ain't got no morals. Look how they end up sleeping. There was today on GB News. I must ring them up because they probably don't know because they're all kids, aren't they? They interviewed an ex-Lib Dem talking about this Lib Dem leader, Ed, whatever his name is, who won't, Sir Ed Davey, who won't go to the banquet with the king for Donald Trump because I hate Donald Trump. He's a fascist. Anyway, that is Tangerine. Right? And they had this guy on talking about it and said it was ex-MP. And I thought, who's that? Who's that? Because he looked familiar, but not familiar. And he had those big glasses on, like with different colours. I thought, what a prick you look like. His name's Mark Oaten. You want to just Google his name and find out why he had to resign as a Liberal Democrat MP. He was being tipped to be the next leader. He was doing something so disgusting of a sexual nature. Well, I wouldn't call it sexual, but anyway, it's described as sexual. Don't write it up in the notes if you know. Let people go and find it for themselves, because I don't want to be contaminated. But he was on there as an expert. An expert. He's a filthy, degenerate pervert, even if he's changed now. What he was doing then was a disgrace. He had male escorts. That's the least part of it. And everyone gets, wants to get their rocks off. I understand that. And if you pay, whatever. But just Google his name and find out what he was. The news to the screws did him. And he doesn't argue against it. So it was obviously true. Having him on it as an expert. Apparently, Angela Rayner is ready to step up and replace Starmer. Get rid of a bell end and replace it. No, we can't say that next bit, Adam Kojak, but thank you for it. Darren has reposted the stream. That really helps. Thank you, my friend. James R.C. Irvin, America, the US portion has been going through the exact same thing. So it looks like you're all waking up, and I don't mean woke style. Well, us Yanks, at least our right-wing or Republicans, we have been dealing with this for a long time. Yeah, you have. The Democrats are fighting to keep our borders, to permit criminals of every sort into our great country. You have your Labour Party. Nothing will change until you rid your government from that party. Now, there have been some Labour governments which have been fine. So I don't agree with that. You need all sorts. But what you need is politicians who know they're working for us, not the other way around. Good job the Germans in World War II didn't think of launching dinghies from France, or would have been in real trouble. It's so true, that slapping. So true. That is so true. That's where Hitler went wrong. You didn't need Messerschmitts and bombers. Just come over in a dinghy. It's kind of what Ryland was saying, in a sense. The world's mad. John, Ed Davis, no, Ed Davey, I think you mean, Kevin. He's never going to cross the threshold at number 10 Downing Street. That's why he's giving it large. Well, yes. Although don't forget, he has got 72 MPs. A lot more than Nigel Farage. John Gaunt, true, you can't put a gallon in a pint pot. Absolutely. I think you're talking about the sheer numbers. Lisa Carver, I'm sure you have to earn a certain amount to legally to come to the UK so that you're not a burden. The dinghy boys take low-paid jobs and would be topped up with universal credit. So another cost to the UK. Lisa, absolute common sense. If you want to go to Australia, I remember they said a friend of a friend and they wanted to emigrate. I think he was an electrician. She was a nurse. So they had the sort of jobs that the Aussies wanted. But he'd had a collapsed lung when he was younger. It was a collapsed lung. And the Aussies said, you can come, but you've got to take out insurance for 3 years in case your lung deflates again. Right? I had another mate who this happened to, actually. They pump it back up, a bit like a medicine ball. I won't go into the details. So they wouldn't let him come till he paid for the insurance in advance. He paid and he went, and they've created a great life in that wonderful country. I never slagged the Aussies off then. I wouldn't slag them off now. That seems like common sense. Do you know we don't even check people for HIV, AIDS, TB, or other contagious diseases? It's voluntary. Surely it should be compulsory. The first duty of any Prime Minister, Keir, you listening? Get off your sunbed, you lazy twat, and do something. You should be protecting the British people, but you are not. You're protecting your lousy, layabout, leeching human rights lawyers, of which, of course, you were the head of them. You were the head of them. Oh, I was the director of public prosecutions. Jimmy Savile, this is his claim to fame, never came across my desk. About the only place he didn't come by the sound of it. But anyway, we shall move on. I've got to finish. GB News had the ex-Cov MP on, who you interviewed a couple of weeks ago. You mean Kevin Webster? Yes, he's on there quite a bit. And he talks sense. That's why I had him on my show as well. But they had him before me, to be fair. Although I interviewed him many, many years ago, which is why I know him. And I've got to just say, by the way, people are saying, what's happened to your guests? You were going to have guests. Well, this week I've been let down by all and sundry. I think it's because it's the last week of the holidays if you've got a proper job, unlike me. So I think that's what's happened to them. Okay. Buy some lockets, John says Denise Deacon, you cheeky woman. But she's donated £1.99. Thank you very much indeed. Well, I thought that was good. That's me just warming up. Unless I lose my voice, it's 6 o'clock tonight. I'm going to be on fire. I'm not going to do a show. If we don't get a decision about the Bell Hotel, I won't do one. But if we get the decision, whichever way it goes, I'll be here and I'll be firing on all cylinders. Don't forget, if you want to help me out, press the little $sign. Or when I finish the show, do not forget to go to www.buymeacoffee.com. You can either buy a coffee or a beer. It's £5 a go. Lots of people buy 3. Whatever you want to do. All goes to help support the podcast. This is nice. Well, good old mate of mine, leader of the taxis, Grant Davis says, would love to have you on GB News, John. Yeah, so would my bank manager. So would my wife. She hated me doing that before, but she says, I don't mind if you do that. She's fed up of subsidising me. But they don't ask me. They don't ask me. I don't know why, because so many of those programs, shut up, John. Don't say that. You'll never get on. But anyway, I'm glad they're watching me. Pity they're not actually saying, hey, Gaunty, come and do a slot for us. Grant Davis, thank you very much, my friend. I love all the bits you send me, by the way. Jackie Ward, she sent me 3 love hearts. Isn't she sweet? Thank you. Right, that's me going. That's lunchtime out of the way. I quite like doing it at lunchtime. Maybe I should do 1 or 2 a week at lunchtime and then the others. I don't know. Well, we'll have a think about it. Right. Shall I let you into a secret? You know, I'm coughing. I don't think lockets would actually help this, Denise Deacon, who gave me $1.99 just then. This morning, I was drinking my tea and it went down the wrong way. And without going too much into detail, I think I must have some phlegm or something there. I started to choke, right? I was watching GB News. That's not the reason why. I think it was when that Mark Oakham was on, the filthy perv. I started to choke and I couldn't get my breath. It's the first time it's ever happened to me. Lisa was out in the back garden doing a bit of yoga, so she didn't know. And I was went, Lisa. And I had this vision. I was going to die in the living room on my own, choking to death. There's a kind of irony there. Anyway, eventually, I splurted out all the tea and all the whatever. I hadn't had anything to eat by this point. And I dragged myself up off the settee and out to Lisa. And she's, what's wrong with you? She got out of the lotus position or whatever it is in yoga. I don't know what she was doing. Made me cough, that's for sure. And I said, bah. So she started banging me on the back. And she liked it a bit too much for my liking. But eventually it went. But ever since then, this morning, I've had this cough. Come on, now that's sympathy. You got to send me a couple of quid for that, surely. Hey, never mind. Grant Davis says you'd be great. Of course I'd be great on GB News. I'd be great on Talk Radio as well. But they were not going to give me a gig. So I'll just have to carry on doing it here, Grant. And if you like it that much, you can chuck a £5 in you, a cabbie. You can afford it. Is Nigel Farage invited to the dinner with Trump? Says Lisa. Lisa, you're brilliant, you are. Tell you, a good Coventry girl. And what happened to your fan who had Nigel Farage tattoo? Well, there's a good question. The first part of your question, Nigel Farage has not been invited, but he will be now, I'm sure, because there's a seat. He can have Ed Davies sitting. I should think he's going anyway, but anyway, there we are. And my fan, you mean Kerry from up north. Kerry Swan, I think her name is. She still watches. She's probably going to watch this later. She'll be at work. She's got a really good job. But yeah, she had the Nigel Farage tattoo on her arm, and it went global, that, didn't it? It went absolutely global. So, Kerry, if you're listening, you're going to have to make a guest appearance soon because you've obviously got fans. Adam Tyrrell, Kojak says, who loves you, baby? Good show, John. It wasn't just a good show. It was a brilliant show. I'm working my balls off here for nothing. Anyway, enough bitterness. I've got to go now. I'll be back at 6 if there's any kind of decision, but I won't be otherwise. All right. Until then, until we meet again, When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain? When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won, where to meet upon the heath with Macbeth. And they say Shakespeare's a brilliant poet. It doesn't rhyme, does it? Anyway, I'm back. Ryland, you're a superstar. You're a main man. No two ways about it, my friend. And if you haven't watched his programme when he goes to Italy, watch it with that Rob Rinder. I never used to like him either. But what a fabulous show that is. Right, that's me done. I'll see you tonight then. Until then, if you've got kids, come and... This was only meant to be 12 minutes long. I've done 45 minutes. Can't stop talking. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. See you tonight if we've got a show to do. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, 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 don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya!